Buenos dias, señoras y señores, and welcome to a SoccerSanchez podcast, the podcast where we bring you the news and views on the beautiful game. As always, I'm joined by Colombia's version of Harry Potter, Stuart there. How you doing, Stuart? Feeling good?
Yeah, all good, thanks. Very good.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Excellent. As always, the second appearance, second cap for D-Lord.
Second cap. Yeah.
Second cap for D-Lord. Thank you for joining us
Thank you.
again.
Thank you very much.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Looking forward to seeing this final. Quite excited, to be honest. So yeah, let's see what they can offer us tomorrow.
Excellent. And as you can see there, we've got a fourth person here on the podcast, special guest, a football journalist, Jordan Jarrett Bryan. How are you today?
I'm good, my friend. Thanks for having me on, man. It's my first cap. I've got the shirt. I'm not letting it go. So I'm in the team. I don't come in and out of the team. I'm in the team.
Excellent.
And it's like someone's got to move out. So boy, just letting you know from early.
It's a debut. Keep the shirt. Don't swap it. Right. So today we're going to bring you some talk about the Europa League Final, which was played yesterday between Sevilla and Inter Milan, and also a preview of the upcoming Champions League Final on Sunday night tomorrow, as we're filming, between Bayern Munich and Paris Saint-Germain. So firstly, I wanted to start with the Europa League Final. It was a great game, very good scoreline for a final anyway. 3-2 Sevilla came out winners. I'm going to run down the scores quickly. So on the 5th minute, Romelu Lukaku scored a penalty. After 12 minutes, Luc de Jong equalised, thanks to a Jesus Navas assist. Luc de Jong scored again on 33 minutes to make it 2-1 to Sevilla. And 2 minutes later, Diego Godin scored an equaliser after 35 minutes. And the winning goal eventually was an own goal by Romelu Lukaku following a Diego Carlos overhead kick, which was going wide, but was deflected in by Lukaku. Now, it was a great game. Sevilla, of course, Europa League specialists, UEFA Cup specialists, if you like, as well. They've now won the 6th title. It's the record holders of the Europa League. A lot of side stories. Romelu Lukaku was equalised, the famous Ronaldo's record for a goal-scoring season for Inter Milan. Also, Julian Lopetegui had a lot to prove following his departure from Spain, and then obviously his unsuccessful tenure at Real Madrid. I'm going to start with you, Stuart. What did you think of the game, and were Sevilla deserved winners?
Yeah, so it was a great game, end-to-end at times, and a bit strange that the goals mostly scored by from set pieces. And I mean, I was kind of rooting for Sevilla based on Lopetegui's history and the way he was dismissed, prior to the World Cup starting, and being quickly dismissed from Real Madrid. So I was happy for him, and his reaction after the full-time whistle just marks kind of told a story on its own. But I thought that the beginning of the game was very controversial. I thought Diego Carlos was very, very lucky not to have been sent off. The referee could have easily pulled out the red card. But I mean, if he'd have done that, it would have ruined pretty much the game, and would have been perhaps it would have been very hard to have the game at that point. So you can understand why the referee didn't actually send them off, but he came back to haunt them with his overhead kick at the end. But yeah, it was a great game. I was also happy for Banega. He's leaving now to go to Saudi Arabia, but he had a great game as well. But yeah, I feel Lukaku has had a great season. So yeah, he showed his talents in the final game. But yeah, I think Sevilla were deserved winners in the end.
D-Lord, what did you make of the performance in general by Romelu Lukaku? And do you think he was a bit unlucky there to get an own goal right at the end? And what do you think of him equaling Ronaldo's record?
I mean that's a very, very big feat that he's just achieved there, and we have to give credit to Romelu Lukaku, who has faced a lot of criticism for some reason. I don't know why. This is a player that has, from a young age, has always been known for scoring goals. And to then have a torrid time at Manchester United, to then go on to start a new leaf at Inter Milan and equal the record of Ronaldo, that's a very, very big feat. I personally am a big fan of Lukaku. I always wanted him back at Chelsea. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But I've always been rooting for him to actually do very well. So this final, I was actually rooting for Inter Milan to win it, and then he scored a penalty, which was good, which he won, he was so immense against that back line. They kind of struggled to deal with him, but to then get that unfortunate own goal at the last time, I felt that was very, very harsh. And then, social media ran away with the memes and, the whole Timberland boot, whatever, But yeah, aside from that, I think that, he deserves he deserves a lot of credit for everything he's achieved, in equaling Ronaldo's feat. And hopefully he goes on to win some trophies.
No, yeah, I have to agree. It is true. When Lukaku was playing in Man United, he was getting a lot of criticism, unfair criticism, really, because his goal scoring record was still pretty good. And you're right, the social media antics, obviously the bantering gets carried away sometimes, and the whole Timberland boots remark was brought up quite a lot, given the criticism of his first touch. But I think you're right. At the moment, Lukaku is looking great. Jordan, what do you feel? Apart from the fact that when you look at Lukaku, he seems like he has a different physique now. He seems much more athletic. He's always been a fast player anyway, but he seems sharper than he was in the Premier League. Do you think he could actually take Serie A by storm the next 2-3 years? And do you think that's where he's going to stay?
I think he can. I think you're right. I think he does look better physically. I remember him doing an interview very early on after his time in Inter Milan. It must have been about maybe a month, and he'd scored like a few goals. And he spoke about the fact that the difference between the build and the fitness he had at Inter Milan and to United was that it was very simple. There was a dietitian, I think he was saying, at Inter Milan, the medical department, that identified that it was just a dietary thing. All it was, he was eating too much of something that had something in it that was causing him to bulk and have so much fat and size. And once they identified that was what was causing him to bulk so big, take that out, the bulk was pure muscle, as opposed to, let's be honest, at times at United, he did look really overweight and I don't think he looked fat, but he didn't look like he was carrying extra pounds.
Top heavy.
He didn't need to carry.
Yeah.
He was top heavy, yeah. So I think he definitely physically looks from what he says, feels better. I agree with Dennis. I think it was really harsh for him to end the season in that way. He had a really good season this year, which in some respects I think was meant to be a redemption season for him, because he left the Premier League. A lot of people questioning whether he was in that top bracket. I don't personally, I never have, thought that he was in that elite bracket of world-class strikers. He's in the tier below. But what I think as football fans we need to remember is there's no shame in being a top striker, but not world-class. If you can bang 25 goals in the Prem or 25 goals in Serie A plus, that's not to be sniffed at. Most strikers can't do that. I think the elite strikers, the world-class strikers, will score 25 plus goals in those two leagues. But a lot of those goals will be at their rivals' grounds, winners in 89th minute. And that's what I think he lacks. A lot of his goals, as in the semi-final, will be 1-3 or 4-5-1, and he scores the third and fourth goal. That's all well and good, but the world-class strikers score the first goal. They get it popping, and that's the thing for him. Just a couple of quick things on the game itself. Great game, very entertaining. I actually think that the red card should have come out in the first 4 minutes. I don't really agree with this whole idea that if the referee sends off a player early on, it ruins the game. That's not his concern. That's not his concern. The referee's not there to worry about, if I send the player off now, it's going to ruin this game. It's a red card. First minute, 5th minute, 80th minute, I don't care. It's a red card. Whether it ruins the game or not, that's on Seville. They messed up. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I'll say about them. And just with Inter, I really was rooting for Inter Milan in this one, because it felt to me like I like characters, and Conte is a character. He's a bastard. He's an absolute bastard. I think the game is lacking men that have a bit of personality about them. I wanted him at my club when Wenger left. The two people I was rooting for were Arteta or Conte. And be like, no, he's a basket case. He is a basket case. But I like that. I kind of like that. And if he brings trophies, I could put up with that, even if it's short term. So I was rooting for Inter because I want him to win because I think he'll go. I think he'll walk or be sacked now, and that for me is a shame. So I was rooting for Inter to win that game, but great final. But I think the better team just about ended up winning the game, Sevilla.
I think you're right. Particularly, as you say that Conte might not be here, but be at Inter Milan next season. I think he, in an interview after the game yesterday, he kind of put that message across that it's unlikely that he will be there next year, which is a shame, as you say, because he is a great character. And I mean, you saw that yesterday when he had the a bit of handbags with Eva Banega during the game. So it will be sad to see him go from Inter. But I mean, if he stayed, that'd be great. But time will tell. It is interesting how you mentioned there how you don't put Romelu Lukaku as the top striker. I personally agree with you. He's kind of the second tier. But it is funny how we say that, but he has equaled the great Ronaldo's record. And if he continues at Inter Milan, he might even beat his record.
But here's the thing. So to cut you there, here's the thing.
Go.
To me, it's all up for interpretation in terms of what's world class and what's not. My interpretation of world class, as I mentioned, it's not just about numbers. The world class strikers not only do numbers, but they get key goals in key games. That game yesterday was the game where if you're Lukaku or a Lukaku fan who thinks he's world class, win that game. You have to score the goal that wins that game. The equalizing penalty, the penalty that he scored is great. It gets it popping, fair play. But Ronaldo's 30-odd goals, and go and look at those goals Ronaldo scored. I bet there's a lot more winners. And in the UEFA Cup final, correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong here. I could embarrass myself, but I'm pretty sure he scored a crucial goal in that final. Yeah. So that's the difference between scoring 25 goals and what Aguero does and what Kane does. They score 25 goals, but the goals aren't fillers. They're getting goals at Old Trafford, at Stamford Bridge, at the Emirates, winners. But you know what I mean? And Lukaku, I think, is a bit of a stat padder, which is, again, no shame in that. But I think that it's not just about, you don't judge, for me, world-class strikers just on the amount. It's on who they're scoring against and the occasions they score on.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that.
I totally agree with that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, seeing as we're talking about what constitutes world-class and what doesn't, one name I want to bring up, which doesn't normally get brought up, but Jesus Navas. Now, he has a honours record to die for. He's got so many honours to his name. He's a very quiet individual. You don't really hear much from him in the papers or anything like that ever, even when he was playing his time at Manchester United. But if we go through his honours, I mean, we're looking here, look, UEFA got on the screen as well. We've got UEFA Cup, he won in 2006. We've got UEFA Super Cup in the same year. UEFA Cup again the following year. Copa del Rey that year. Copa de España 2007, Copa del Rey 2010, the World Cup 2010, Euros 2012, the League Cup at Man City 2014, Premier League 2014, League Cup 2016, and now the Europa League again. Stuart, do the honours a player gets rank you as world class, and would you say Jesus Navas is one of the best ever?
Wow.
It's the best. What you're saying.
That is a great question.
When he came to the Premier League, he didn't really, shine, really stand out too much. I think the factor of homesickness was quite a big factor in not being able to have a great time at Man City. But yeah, no, he wouldn't classify as world class. But he was a very good player in his first stint at Sevilla. Around 2006, 2007 years. His pace, always characterized him. Sometimes his final delivery was lacking, but he was always a really tricky player that got into the right positions. And he seems to be having a very good tail end to his career. But yeah, I mean, I definitely would have put him in the world class bracket.
You would?
I wouldn't.
Oh, you wouldn't. D-Lord, same question.
Yeah, not world class for me. But again, I'm a fan of the player. Like, for Sevilla, he, as a right winger, as an orthodox right winger who just gets it down the line and just gets the ball in. Amazing technique, amazing pace. Very tricky, but obviously at Manchester City, as Stuart said, he didn't really hit the heights for whatever reason. World class. I mean, congratulations to him. The accolades. I mean, you just wheeled off a whole list of, a whole list of trophies that a lot of players would kill for.
Bearing in mind, it's with the majority with Sevilla. He's not Barcelona, Real Madrid, or Atletico Madrid.
Exactly. So that in itself deserves high praise. So you have to kind of give him his credit in regards to that. But again, as we're talking about world class, it's to me, he seems to be someone that just kind of fits the system that works.
Yeah.
As opposed to kind of like an individual, if my team is not doing great, can they lean on me? Do I stand out? He's not that type of player. If the team is faltering, he's faltering. If the team is clicking, he's clicking. So I wouldn't really class him as world class, but I'll class him as a very, very decent player with to die for. What would you call it? Trophy list. So,
but perhaps that's also a case of a big, classic case of a big player in a small club, really over exceeding as opposed to a smaller kind of fish in a bigger team where he can't really stand out as much. So again, that comes down to personality and where he feels comfortable in. So that kind of explains maybe why these accolades have been achieved mostly at Sevilla as opposed to other teams.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Even in Sevilla, I don't think he was actually like the standout player back there. I mean, I can't even remember.
That's very true. Actually, the squad up, people make Eva Banega, like they always put him above Zeus, for example.
Yeah. Banega to me he's up there. Like he for some reason he's not talked about. I believe I said it on the last show. I don't think he's talked about as much as he should be, because this is a player that should be. He's got everything.
Yeah.
When I say everything, he's got everything. I like to say, to me, Michael Essien, that's Eva Banega. Like they have the same. He can play DM. He can play CM. He can play AMF. You can even play him on the wing. Like he's an all-rounder, and he's not lacking in any of those departments. Wherever you put him, he's gonna do extremely well. But apparently,
SCN could play AM easy.
Listen,
easy.
Listen.
Let's. I got to call that one out there. Like SCN was a bad boy midfielder that could play a couple of roles very, very well. AM was one of them. Let's have it right. Come on, Dennis. Come on.
Okay. What I'm saying is that Essien didn't really Essien never really played AM, but with his talents, no, he didn't have a chance. There were other people that were there for it.
He didn't have that touch, B. Come on. He didn't have that touch.
Listen, I think you're doing a disservice to Essien.
He didn't have that touch, B.
But that's another story for another day. But
for me, Banega is better than Essien. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. I think it's a shame that he's leaving at the age of 32 to go play in Saudi Arabia, because he was quality yesterday. And did he play? He's never played in the Premier League, has he? Banega?
No, unfortunately, no. I wish he did. I wish he did.
I'd love to see him in the Premier League. He's been quality for Sevilla for years now, and as you said, he's been more of like an unsung hero and not really mentioned in the same heights as same kind of conversation as other quality.
To be fair, a lot of that's his own fault. If you look at his history, a lot of that is because go and read up on him. He's had a wild past. He's always had the talent to rival any midfielder in Europe, but it's up here. He was lazy. He was very undisciplined. He's only the last 3 or 4 years he's matured and grown up and realised that he's got a talent that can. It's obviously 3-4 years too late, but a lot of the reason why he's not been the player that he should have been, a lot of that is his own fault. Do you know what I mean? So let's not get the violins too much out for him, because he's got all the talent and always has done. But go and read up about Eva Banega and find out why it's only now people are lauding him, because he's a wild one. He's a wild one.
That's what I was actually trying to allude to. The fact that he hasn't really hit the heights which he should have is because of his like you said, like the troubles that he brings. He has had a very troubled past, and he's had a lot of issues, and hopefully now that's all. Well, he's 32 now, so he's kind of matured very late. Someone of his talent should have, hit the Premiership. And I'm sure a lot of managers had a look at that and realized that, is it worth bringing a player of that talent, but to have to deal with all the excess baggage that he brings?
It's long now. It's long now. Yeah.
You look at someone like Payet, for example. You know what I mean? Had all the talent, but issues. You don't really want that. So I'm guessing that's why a lot of Premiership players and managers didn't go for him.
Yeah, no, I guess it's all about attitudes, really, isn't it? The professionals tend to last longer, even if not that good. Jesus Navas. So anyway, great for Sevilla. Fantastic for them. As I mentioned before, they're not exactly, the Real Madrids or Barcelonas in Europe, but if you look at their Europa League record, it's fantastic, and to be the 6-time record holders is no mean feat, and it's good for them that they've managed to do that. And Ava Banega, no violins for you, but a massive checkbook for next season. So great. So moving on, then we're going to talk about the big one, arguably the biggest sporting event of the year, the Champions League final between Bayern Munich, 5 times winners, against the poor lowly PSG, who have never reached the final before. I think the furthest they've got is semi-final in '94 against Milan, I think it was. Champions League final. Bayern Munich for me was always the favourite. I always believed that they could win it. It could have been RB Leipzig against Lyon, but luckily we've got Munich and PSG. D-Lord, are you happy with the glamour final? I know you were quite particularly aggrieved that Man City didn't go through, but are you happy with the final?
Yes, I am. It's not taking anything away from Lyon and.
Yeah, you are. Just be honest. Just be honest, man. You didn't want that final. Why are you lying for? You didn't want that final. Just say it, innit?
Okay.
In your head, that'd have been a dead final. Just be real.
Okay, it would have been a dead final.
Right. Okay.
Nobody wants.
So you're taking it away from them completely. Don't say. Just keep it real.
No, to be fair, no one really wants to see that final, right?
No. We want to see you. We want to see talk for you. So listen, you talk for you.
I can guarantee nobody here wants to see a Leipzig versus Lyon final. Everybody wants to see a Bayern Munich versus a Man City or Bayern Munich versus a PSG. Like, this is the final that we want to see. We have the heavyweights of Bayern Munich versus the heavyweights of Paris Saint-Germain. The Farmers League.
The Farmers League versus the Farmers League, yeah?
The Farmers League, So, yes, I'm very, very excited. I want to see what is in store for us tomorrow.
How do you think it's going to go? How do you think it's going to go?
Okay. My head tells me Bayern Munich is just going to take it. But I am rooting for PSG because I'm a big fan of Mbappe and I'm a big fan of Neymar and also a very big fan of Di Maria. So that front three, but against the likes of Muller, Lewandowski, Gnabry, that's like we're in for a treat tomorrow. I've always said Bayern Munich they're a very dangerous machine. And they operate machine-like, and they grind teams, and they do not play around. But I do feel their defense is still not good enough. I think that there are people that could be exploited, especially Boateng. I feel he can be exploited. I think if you catch Alaba on a bad day, he can be exploited as well. Alphonso Davies is great. He's exceptional, as well as Kimmich. But it'll be interesting to see how that back line holds up against an Mbappe, Di Maria, and of course Mr. Neymar. And also the fact that Verratti is back is a big. I actually thought he was injured for.
Is he back?
Yeah, he's back. He came in as a sub in the last game. So I'm pretty sure that he's going to be ready for the final, which is a very, it kind of makes it a bit of a more even playing field. What do you guys think?
Well, yeah, okay. So Bayern PSG, I mean, I've mentioned to you in a previous conversation that I wanted Atlanta to make it right to the final, but obviously they knocked out to PSG. Well, for tomorrow's game, I think it just depends how well PSG counter Bayern's pressing game. I feel like PSG are lacking when it comes to, when they get pressed. It's very easy for other teams to score against them. Verratti, I think, is one of the only PSG players that can actually play against that pressing technique. The team, so he's going to be a very crucial piece of the jigsaw, I think. And I think also if Bayern do play that pressing game, and they like to play that high line game as well, all it takes is a long kick from K.I.N.E.T.I Navas and Mbappe's onto that. So that's going to be something for them to watch out for as well, that high line they play with. And also I think Alphonso Davies' game is going to be very much constrained. He's been applauded after his performance against Barcelona. Everyone's kind of paying more attention to him now. But I think against PSG, his defensive game is going to be up to greater scrutiny, because he'd have to deal with Di Maria's and those counter attacks that PSG might play. And also I think Bayern's defense isn't the greatest. I mean, it's good, but you saw some of that being exposed against Lyon. You had Kambi, Depay, causing real trouble against them in the first, I think, 15-20 minutes. Lyon could have easily scored that against Bayern Munich, and everyone was thinking, Bayern Munich would have easily walked past Lyon the other day. But it was a bit touch and go at the beginning. So I think Bayern's defense is there for the taking. He said, Dino, I mean, their defense can always be exploited. So it's going to be depending. Also Neymar as well. Neymar likes to come in quite deep and take the ball with him forward. So if they can really try and address that and they try and shut him down as soon as he gets the ball, then that might be the key for them to win the game. Personally speaking, I think PSG might take it.
Okay, that's interesting.
Okay,
I've got on the screen my predicted started lineup. So one thing that I was having trouble with, one for each team actually. You mentioned there Verratti. Now it's unknown whether or not he'll be fit to start the game tomorrow to play the whole match or anything. But it is interesting seeing how Paredes has fitted into that left hand side of the central midfield of PSG, because he's very much more of he doesn't get the assist, but he gets the pre-assist, if that makes sense. He does make it tick within that midfield, and I think if Verratti isn't fit, there is a decision to make for Thomas Tuchel. If he chooses Idrissa Gueye, a more defensive midfielder, or if he does go with Paredes. Do you think he should? Well, which option do you think he should go with, Jordan? And if Verratti is even 60% fit, do you think he should give an opportunity to start?
I'm not really a big fan of playing players that on paper are the better player, but not fully fit. So I think it's easy to underestimate how much you lose with a player that no matter how good they are, when you're not fully fit, I think it compromises a lot of your skill sets. And I think there are times where you are better off playing an inferior player who's 100% fit than the better player who's 60% fit. However, on this occasion, I would gamble. Normally I wouldn't in this, but on this tomorrow, if I was PSG, I would gamble, because I think Stuart makes a really good point that in that pressing game that Bayern play, you need a player that can take the ball with his back to goal and spin and turn and get the ball moving quickly on the half turn. And he does that better than anybody, definitely in the PSG team. So you need someone that can receive the ball quickly and spot a pass on the half turn and get it moving and get you up the field with a pass. And he can do that. So I on this occasion would go against my normal instincts and I would gamble. I would start Verratti. I'm not a PSG fan. I don't like what they're about. I don't like they're I don't like that they're. I mean, I did a podcast the other day. I was on The Guardian. I was saying how basically PSG for me are like that guy in the party who has all the fancy clothes, new clothes. He's got all the money. He's invited to all the top parties because his dad's really rich, but he can't talk to girls. He can't dance. He's a bit of a wanker, and no one really likes him. But he gets invited to all the top parties because his dad's got the dough. You know what I mean? PSG's that kind of club to me. I just don't like them. Just move. You're not. I just no. But
I love that.
I think this final has the propensity to be. I can't think of the last time there was a Champions League final with attacking talent from both sides. I can't think of the last time two teams had this amount. The potential of this final to be an explosive one. I just hope the goals haven't been dried up in previous rounds and UEFA Cup. If this is a 0-0, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting a really, really high energy game. A couple of quick points. I'm kind of leaning towards PSG only because, and this says a lot about their brain power, their tactical nous and their heart. In a one-off game, I think PSG can beat anybody. And I think the team that to benefit from the lockdown and the format from the season of having one-legged to benefit the most are PSG. Because their front three attacking power can rival anybody. Over two legs, they're thick as shit. Sorry, can we swear on this? Sorry.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
Over two legs, they haven't got the intelligence to manage 180 minutes. And we've seen that over the last 4 or 5 games. But over 90 minutes, they can beat anybody. And that's why I think they're a problem for Bayern Munich, because Bayern are the rightful favourites. But I've got a feeling, and I'm not a Neymar fan either, but I think Neymar can win me over if he can show that he's a team player and be the skillful individual Neymar at the right times and take one for the team for the greater good. If Neymar steps up tomorrow, I think he can deliver PSG that title. The word machine was used earlier on as well by D-Lord. Bayern are a machine. And if they're on top and PSG are on top, you've got to favour Bayern. I've just got a feeling in a straight shootout, in a gun match, I've just got a feeling that PSG won't be fearful of Bayern Munich. And I think that, final point, the battle I'm looking forward to the most, again, Stuart mentioned, is Davis versus, is that Mbappe's side? Am I getting that right? Is that Mbappe's side?
Mbappe, yeah. I
think it is, isn't it? That's Mbappe's side. Those two players are arguably the two fastest players in Europe. That could be so fun. But I really hope that Bayern Munich have been criticised, or not criticised, but their high lines been mentioned. And people say, against PSG, they'll get exposed. I hope that Bayern stick to their guns. I hope they do push up, squeeze the pitch. I hope they don't change their format. Okay, Mbappe is a problem. And if you get caught, you're kind of done. But I say that, but if there's one player that can catch Mbappe, it's Davis. Do you know what I mean? So I really hope that Bayern Munich don't change how they've been playing, because they know there's a lot of pace with Di Maria and Mbappe in the wide areas. I hope they stick to their guns. I hope they play their game. And I think we could be in for a really, really, really exciting final.
It's interesting you bring that up, actually, because I've actually got my notes here that would PSG look at putting Mbappe? I mean, Mbappe plays, wherever they're on the front three, but putting him on the left-hand side, because you're looking at a right back like Kimmich, who does
totally
is not as fast as Mbappe. And
I'll switch him.
Maybe putting someone like Pavard in that right back position, who is quicker than Kimmich, and then getting rid of Leon Goetze in that midfield to put Kimmich in there. That I think is going to be very, very interesting to see tactically, as well as the spectacle in general. D-Lord, do you think Neymar can step up and become that clutch player, become the player that he seemed to want to be when Barcelona were winning that Champions League? At the time, it was said that he felt overshadowed by Messi. Do you think he can actually step forward and maybe even eclipse Mbappe, who some people are saying is up there with him?
I think this is his chance. Like, there's been a lot of criticism, and he felt that he's been unfairly criticized. I think this is the time to show it. And do I think he can do it? I believe he can. I mean, he's been, we spoke about him in the last show where we've seen the games and he's been very good, but at the same time, he's been not being clinical in front of goal. I feel like this final is like a World Cup final. He needs to step up. And I believe, does he have it in him? Of course, 100%. When Neymar's on his game, he's unplayable. But it's going to be interesting to see how Bayern, target him, and there will be a lot of players who try and get closer and make sure he doesn't have his game. But I feel that he can do it. I think he can deliver.
Sorry, I don't think they will target him.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think Bayern Munich are going to target him. I think that I think they know PSG will be expecting that. And I just think that Bayern will play their game. I think if it was City, I think if it was Madrid, I think if it was Barcelona, they would target him and I think they'd really get into him, which is not, that could be a good tactic or not. I don't know. And rough him up. I'm not so sure Bayern will do that. I don't think they will.
If they do,
go on, Stuart.
I mean, if they do that, I really hope the referee is on his game, because I thought yesterday in the final, the referee just fell for all severe theatrics. And if PSG stooped down to, Neymar having his, his usual theatrics, which, let's be honest, he does. That's a big part of his game is, all of his theatrics and falling over. And if he does that, I mean, you want to see a referee really clamping down on that early on, to try and make sure Neymar doesn't do that. But again, that depends if Bayern Munich really going hard against Neymar. And as you said, Jordan, they might not do that. So we should see the referee, being assertive from the get go.
I've coming back to one of the points. I think the key, a person that we're actually doing a disservice of not even really speaking about is Di Maria. I think the introduction of Di Maria in the last game, I think he changed. He was the guy who changed the play of PSG. I think he is a key guy that he can win them that Champions League. He's got vast experience of playing for Real Madrid. I mean,
I believe the final, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He was. Amazing engine, amazing skill set, and just even seeing the last game he played, like he got the assist for the first goal, I believe, and also the Neymar assisted him, so he got a goal and an assist. And I think if Bayern are not careful, and they're focusing too much on Mbappe and Neymar, they're going to be in a lot of trouble not thinking about a player like Di Maria.
Lewandowski's birthday tomorrow, I think, as well. Ooh. He'll get a red card. I'm calling it. He's getting a red card tomorrow. I'm calling it.
Oh, put a bet on that one. The odds must be good for that. It is
here first.
Sorry, I was going to say, D-Lord, it is interesting how you say that. If they concentrate too much on Mbappe and Neymar, they could get caught out by Di Maria. They did look very vulnerable for me at the start of the game against Lyon. There were a couple of occasions where Lyon looked like they were going to score and actually take the lead in that game. But they can get caught out on a counter-attack, and that will be one of their weaknesses. Now, as you mentioned there, Lewandowski, fantastic player. 55 goals in all competitions this season. 15 Champions League goals, 2 goals away from the record. Himself and Gnabry have been very good in the Champions League. He scored 9 goals in the Champions League this season. Lewandowski, was on the losing side last time he was in the final when he was playing with Dortmund. Do you think, as we mentioned before, the whole clutch player thing, do you think Lewandowski has a point to prove for this final, or what's the word? Does he have to score the winner to be the main man in this game to cement his legacy as one of the all-time great goal scorers in Europe? Jordan?
No, I don't. I don't think he has to win this game to cement his legacy or prove that he's the greatest striker in Europe. I think anybody that doesn't think he is currently and arguably overall the best number 9 in Europe, I think needs to go and look in the mirror. I mean, in an era, there's not many number 9s at the moment anyway, but he is the best, not only this season, I think overall. I think it's him and K.I.N.E.T.I are the best number 9s in Europe, but that's discussion for another day. Yeah. I think that he has to just do what he does. I think he has to do what he does. I think for someone that's a number 9, he's a very, very good team player as well. Mm-hmm. He does a lot of work that doesn't involve him scoring goals, that I've noticed as well the last couple of years. He does a lot of work on the halfway line. He does a lot of work chasing balls down, not only in areas that are not beneficial to him scoring a goal, but at times in the game that you think you don't really need to be chasing players down there, but he's doing it because there's a team ethic that says whether we're 4-0 down or 4-0 up, whether it's in my zone or on the halfway line, we're going to work. We're going to work for each other and push each other. And I think that's what he's got to do tomorrow. I don't think he's the sort of player that will be looking. I think Neymar's the sort of person that'll be thinking, I have to do something special to win this game for my team. And whether he does or not, we'll see. I think Lewandowski's the sort of player that won't get too caught up in the me. I think Lewandowski will be quite comfortable winning the game 3-0 and not scoring. Do you know what I mean? But knowing he's played well and contributed. So I don't think he has to do anything spectacular to cement his legacy. Yeah, the last time he was at a final, he lost, as you mentioned. But I don't think if he gets a red card, then there'll be a lot of heat on his neck. But I don't think this final, win or lose, will alter how we look at Lewandowski.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Stu, what's your take on Lewandowski and this season in particular?
Sorry, say that again?
And this season in particular.
Yeah, this season he's been unstoppable in terms of how many goals he's scored. And I think it's very hard to argue that he's not the best number 9 in Europe, up there with Kane. So yeah, I think Lewandowski, as Jordan mentioned, I think he's just very happy to be that team player and just really, really kind of run the channels and just contribute towards the team in that kind of way.
Stuart, can I ask you a question? I want to ask a question, Stuart. I was thinking the other day, who was the last number 9 that had this impact in Europe? Because I can't think of a number 9 since maybe Ronaldo that was doing what Lewandowski's doing right now on the European and domestic scene. Can anybody think of a number 9, the last number 9 to be doing what Lewandowski's doing right now?
Shevchenko?
In terms of like scoring goals?
Yeah, scoring goals, winning titles, getting to finals. Shevchenko's a good shout.
Yeah.
Fan
story?
What about Falcao?
Yeah.
Champions League.
Yeah, not Champions League.
Only like the Portuguese league. He never won a league, did he? They came like second.
No.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to kind of picture who the last one was.
That's a good question, actually. I can't think of anyone.
In an era where number 9s are a dying breed, Lewandowski has to be the one that shines out right now. Yeah, he'll be up there. One of the favourites to score a goal tomorrow. So yeah, just have to see.
Yeah, it is a rarity now seeing number 9s, and as you say, exceptional ones as well. One player who I particularly like at Bayern Munich, and I think D-Lord, you're a fan, is Thomas Muller. I think he's very important to the way Bayern Munich play their attacking game. He was exceptional against Barcelona. D-Lord, would you have him at Chelsea?
Now?
Yeah, now.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, why not? I have the thing with him.
I'm surprised you think about that one.
No, because I'm trying to think of the potential coming ins and the people we have, the ones we've got now. Is I can't just be stockpiling players and just trying to see who would. Because how old is he now? And trying to see if he would fit into the team right now. Well, he's a world class player. You got to give him that. He's always been a weird one for me. Because you look at him and you don't see, what he's excellent at.
What's his position?
I don't know what his position is, but he just seems to be very good.
He's always in the right place, right time.
Yeah, and
he's a world-class space provider. You don't see what he does until you see him up close. On TV, it doesn't do him justice. I mean, Bayern came to Arsenal years ago in the good old days. It was in the Champions League, the good old days. And I was at the Emirates and I saw him once. And it's not until you're there and you see the runs he makes off the ball. He won't go near the ball for maybe 10 minutes, but the work that he does creates so much problems and space for his own teammates. He's that sort of player. Technically on the ball, he's a little bit of a mess, but I think he's the sort of player that teammates love having because he does so much stuff that's not glamorous or not even seen, but has a massive impact on the rest of the team.
I totally agree. Because like I said, like on the eye, you can't really say, he's very neat on the ball or whatever. But it's just he just seems to be you can look at him, and then when you look at his stats, it's amazing. Like
and
the assists,
his honors list
it's
is
amazing.
ridiculous.
The goals are amazing, and you think, when you look at him, and you're like, it just can't. You can't put it together. You know what I mean? When you look at a goal, one of the favorite goals I liked he scored was against Barcelona, where the link up with him and Lewandowski, where he looked like he was going to volley the ball, but he just touched it into Lewandowski. Lewandowski laid it back to him, and then he just, put it in the back of the net. That's Thomas Muller, very, 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 very good player. But again, will I have him at Chelsea? I don't know. It's a tough one. But he's amazing. I got to give it to him. I got to raise my hand.
That's the issue for him. He's a system player. So though I'm lauding him and I think he's a brilliant player, I don't think he fits into most teams. I think you have to almost fit your attack around him. And I think a lot of top teams don't see what he does on the ball to be if I'm fitting my team around you, I need to know on the ball what you do. You're a provider. You're mad quick, or you're a finisher. Then I can. But if he's not none of those things, so I think teams are reluctant to look. I think that's why no one's bidding for him before, because you have to. Where do you put him? That's not to say he's not a great player and he don't contribute, but he's a very specific player to a very specific season. That's why, was it Pep or who the guy after Pep didn't quite work? Was it Ancelotti? One of those managers he didn't do well under because the system just didn't allow him to do. I think it was Pep. It might have been Pep. He needed ball players, and he's not a ball player.
Yeah. Is it a question? Is he world class?
I don't know. I
say that. Is he world class, or would you put him in the same bracket as how we were speaking about Jesus Navas, where they've got the accolades? But
Navas. That's rude to world class. Navas is nowhere near. Come on, don't even. Like,
no, but you know what I'm trying to
Sanchez,
say.
I was upset when that was just so out of order. It's a dead Navas. That was a red card. A two-footed one. But I think the better comparison for Muller is Sterling. Is Sterling world class, or does Sterling look world class in that system? Put Sterling in a different team. Does he score 20 goals? I don't think he does.
Yeah,
now, I like Sterling.
Mm-hmm.
I like him. But I think the system works for him. The system is what enables him to be a world-class player.
Yeah.
Put Lewandowski in a Spurs shirt, in an Arsenal shirt, Chelsea shirt. He's banging 30 big goals. Mm-hmm. That, for me, is a what?
Can I ask you a question, Jordan? So
go for it.
When someone asks you, when someone says to you, this player can't be world class because he hasn't won the World Cup or he hasn't won the Champions League.
No, I don't buy that.
You just ignore that. You ignore that.
Yeah, I don't buy that because it's a team game. So you can be in a world class team that just wasn't good enough. And I think judging players who are world class based off what they've won or not won is dangerous. Now, I don't know many world class players that haven't won the top honours, but I don't think not winning them should discount you. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So,
what's your criteria for world class? 30 goals is for a striker.
For a striker?
Yeah.
Again, I don't think. I think a world class striker is numbers. I think you have to be getting the numbers. That's a given. But I think I judge I had the debates, and I've kind of come around to it, to be fair now, with Arsenal fans about Aubameyang. Up until this season, I wasn't calling Aubameyang world class and be like, you're crazy, you're stupid. Uh-huh. Look at his record, look at his stats. But up until recently, Aubameyang's record against Chelsea, Man United, Man City, Spurs, and Liverpool was awful. It was really bad. Kevin Phillips got 30 goals in the Premier League. Bloody Jamie Vardy's record against the big six teams is very, very, very good. Yeah. No one's calling him world class. So for me, it's not just about goals. You could be, and again, it's interpreted to how you want to interpret it, but there are levels. There's top strikers, of which Lukaku is. He's a top striker. Yeah. Them men are scoring 25 goals. Most strikers can't get 25 goals a season. Let's have it right. 25 goals for most strikers is unobtainable. You're chatting about world-class strikers, 25 goals is the bare minimum. Kane, world-class.
Definitely.
Aguero, world-class. Lewandowski, world-class. What other strikers?
Would you put Suarez?
Suarez. I think he's coming to. He's on the hill now.
Yeah, but
no one's messing with Suarez now. But yeah, he was a world-class striker. There's not many. Do you know what I mean? So world-class for me is it's not just about numbers. Aubameyang this year scored at Old Trafford. I think he scored against you lot. Was it Chelsea?
in the final.
Oh, no, I meant in the league, but in the final, 2 big goals. In the semi-final, 2 big goals. That's a world-class striker. Didier Drogba I could name you 30 strikers in Premier League history I'd probably take before Drogba. But Drogba for me was world-class because in the big moments, in the big games, I'm looking to Drogba. He stepped up when the pressure's on, can you deliver? And that's why someone like Dybala, I'm going a bit mad now, but someone like Dybala for me, I clocked it years ago. All the talent in the world. But I clocked it from years ago. He's a butler. He's a butler. He's a butler. I'm not having him. He's a butler. And I said this 3 years ago. Oh, Dybala's the next big thing. He's got all the talent in the world. But for me, I don't care how much talent you've got. Yeah. I judge you on what you do when it matters. And Drogba, when it mattered, won trophies for Chelsea.
Yeah.
Give me Drogba or Dybala. I'm taking Drogba. Okay, different players slightly. But on the face of it, the skill set that Dybala's got, different league to Drogba. But if you're talking about world-class strikers, Stuart, I'm looking at not only numbers, I need moments. In the big moments, you've got to deliver.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between Drogba and Lukaku.
Yeah.
That's well put.
Great point.
Definitely. It's interesting you say that, actually, because if I'm not mistaken, I think Drogba and Matt Letizia have very similar goal-scoring records in the Premier League. But Drogba is always seen as the world-class striker.
He wasn't prolific.
Because of what he's done in finals and important times. Yeah. His goal scoring wasn't great. Yeah, exactly. But it's those clutch moments, like you mentioned, that give him that standout. The way people look at him, basically, that you can see he's a standout world-class player. That's great. Listen, guys, I really appreciate you, all of you, taking time out to just come on the show and chew the fat with me about the Champions League final. Just before we go, quick scoreline prediction for the Champions League final, Stuart.
I'm going with a 3-2 PSG win.
Excellent. D-Lord, scoreline, please, for the final.
I'm going with... I'm actually going with the same. 3-2 PSG.
So am I, actually. I was going for the same scoreline.
Clean sweep.
Serious. I was going for 3-2 PSG.
Oh,
interesting.
I know, that's controversial. What about you?
Jordan.
Say that again?
The quote of the show is going to be what you said about PSG because the analysis you made. A rich man going to...
Yeah, bro. Yeah. They're that guy.
That's some wisdom. That's some wisdom right there. Forever now, I'll always think of that when I think of PSG and Man City.
What about you?
So, Stuart, what?
What about you, man? What do you think?
I think it's going to be 4-1 Bayern.
What? 4-1?
I think if Bayern can take the lead early...
It could be 4-1 Bayern. It could.
If they take the lead early, I think they'll score again in the first half, and then we'll just overrun PSG. We'll see.
This I'm not gonna lie. This is crazy. We've got 3 people going for PSG who are the underdogs, and 1 person going for Bayern Munich.
Listen, I want Bayern to win. I don't like PSG. I want Bayern to win this game, but I've just got a feeling that PSG might try and do a thing.
It's like you said, the one-legged thing is probably to their advantage.
Yeah, I think it is.
Cool. Well, listen, guys. Stuart, as always, thank you so much for joining me. Loving the hair as always. D-Lord.
was that a little last-minute shot there? Like, shot. Wow. Like, just coming on. Shit, yeah. Anyway, see you later, D-Lord. D-Lord, your hair looks impeccable as always.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining me again, and hopefully we'll have you on the show again soon. And Jordan, listen, thank you so much for taking the time out.
Thanks for getting me on, man. I enjoyed that. Thank you very much.
Get involved, and I really enjoyed the insight today on the show. As always, guys, if you're watching this or listening, and you've reached the end of the show, please like, subscribe, and comment. Join in the discussion with what we've talked about today. Who do you think is going to win the Champions League? Is Lewandowski world class? And would you sign a prime Jesus Navas? Let us know. Thank you, guys, again. Yeah, take care. Enjoy the final, and it's been emotional. Take care. Bye bye.